Test. 8:15, we're scheduled for 8:15. We have a special call meeting of the Jefferson County Administrative and Infrastructure Committee meeting for the consideration of 3 items. The first is being the Birmingham Water Works Board Billing and Collection Agreement. Does everyone have a copy of it? Everyone understand it and read it? Well,
Are we good with it?
We're good. And they have signed it.
the second one is a Constable McCarthy, which is an engagement for the upcoming litigation on redistricting. That's the Washington, D.C. company. And the third is a continuing engagement with Bosch Bingham to represent us on our redistricting.
Number 1 through 3.
Have a motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All in favor. There you go. I think that's it for this particular meeting
Right.
here.
Meeting is noticed for 8:30, so.
Yeah, the other one is here at 8:30. Anybody want any talk? This meeting is adjourned. Anybody get to look at the billing the resolution? Did anyone have any trouble with that as we are sitting here? Would you like for me to read it?
Which one?
All these, the first few, all.
No, I'm going to read all of the bills. I can't read that good. For the support bill 179.
Oh. I think that's on your 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. That was the only other thing that was in conjunction. Man.
You know what the way said it will be getting an increase for the, everything every year. How long?
On the what?
Increase every year. Will we get them, when they do the automatic billing, we're gonna get them some on that too?
It will be totally, completely relooked at.
When they do the automatic.
Right.
Yeah, oh,
Correct.
yeah.
Complete.
It just depends on what the software is, the meters and.
Oh, wait.
Got everything?
It is.
So it's gonna be based on the cost.
Yeah, once that's installed, it'll be a complete relook at everything and looking at the allocation based on
They
that.
hadn't even picked a vendor yet, have they?
They ain't big.
All right, Theo, we're not reconvening with us. This is a special call.
Correct.
So I need to adjourn one meeting and have a special, let's leave it on.
Just leave it alone.
But it's not 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it's a special meeting. Your other meeting is still in play as it always is. You just convened a special call meeting at 8:30.
So we can go back to our office. Tonight, it's 8.
No, 8:30.
Another meeting at 8:30.
Yeah, that's the meeting. That's the
Correct.
reconvening. of
It's the
meeting.
Not reconvened, it's a special call meeting.
Special call meeting right here.
I thought we just.
We just brought them to the agenda.
That's the storm thing.
You're good. I think it's going good, but apparently you're good.
It's just.
It's all called, ready to go.
Okay.
And I was thinking,
This is, it ain't really long.
And then at 8:30.
maybe a month.
It's that other one.
You are recognized one of them. You didn't even go through?
Recessing.
Most of this early, we want to probably add this. Although we
They got, there was two.
Cover their whole.
Attorneys for the redistricting.
They got all their training. It's certified.
But if they take one off the
If they do, I met with them, yes, they do.
The 8:30.
And I don't see why they would not do it.
Richardson
I
said,
don't think they're lying, I think it's just
Richardson said
misinformation.
in a mayor's meeting that they had the person.
That's what I'm just
I mean, that's what
talking,
it-
I'm just.
They have to get trained.
You
No.
take
They have
it,
had
and
that.
you know, shit.
No, he said he got everybody, all the people.
But you know, it's gonna be all
You
so
know,
I think you're wrong. The money, so I can have those extra people.
They was gonna get it from the city, was going to go in and give him the course this.
We really didn't see that plan before we tried to spend $4 million.
I thought we had two left off. I thought we had two left off.
No, there's two there, but two there were left over on the first
Chris is really good because he every
Yeah, he'll tell you who's there. He probably knows the name.
he knows everybody.
this is when we were planning on having our meeting.
I don't think she'd have showed us a minute.
I do appreciate the camaraderie that we have. And the ability to kick back, get in here early in the morning, and have good conversation and good fun and while we do this business. You just don't know how much that means to the morale. You know, even the ones that are watching on Facebook, our employees, they understand that and they appreciate it. And as we do business, we don't get along. We do. And we're good people. I appreciate that. With that being said, I'd like to call to order a special call meeting of the Jefferson County Commission for the consideration of 3 items that were presented in the Administrative Commission, pre-commission meeting at 8:15 this morning. Call to order. Mr. DiLiberto, call the roll.
Commissioner Ammons?
Here.
Commissioner Knight?
Here.
Commissioner Scales? Commissioner Tyson? Commissioner Stevens?
I'm here, thank you. Have resolutions 1 through 3.
I'll move items 1, 2, 3.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, the resolution's carried. County Attorney, any other new business?
No, sir, not for this meeting.
Meeting's adjourned. Now, you got 30 minutes. neighborhood.
You about to change your shoes?
I was gonna change my shoes and put my sweater on. How about that? So. Keep that down. I had to do that to get here today. All right. Got a pre-commission work session. It's been a busy morning, sir. Appreciate everyone being here. Being here on time, being able to vote on this very important item. Now we're about to embark on the business of the week. I'd like to call to order the pre-commission work session of April 18th, 2023. And, Danielle, would you lead us in the Lord's Prayer, please?
Yes, sir. So, Lord, we come to you this morning, Lord, just pray your blessings on this meeting, Lord. Be with the commissioners, Lord. Give them unity, Father, because we know that a house divided against itself will fail. But, Father, with unity, we will do so much more, Lord. I thank you so much for these that have been elected to serve. And, God, I just thank you for Jefferson County and all the promises and the blessings that you put upon us. Lord, I pray that this meeting will go smoothly and that your will be done. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, ma'am. Go straight up the line, y'all. We'll start with Public Works, Community Service, and Intergovernmental Relations Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, Commissioners. For Public Works, Community Services, and Intergovernmental Relations Committee, we have no items under Board of Equalization. Under Environmental Services, we have 5 items for your consideration. Do we have, is that going to be you or David? Any questions from any commissioners regarding items 1 through 5?
I move 1 through 5.
All right. Move items 1 through 5, and it has been seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
We have no items under General Retirement System of Jefferson County. 1 item for Human Resources, and this is an agreement for Jefferson Trawick to serve as Economic Development Advisor to the County Manager in accordance with Act 2011-70.
I'll move the item.
Thanks.
All right, it has been moved and properly seconded. I do have a question. Is Mr. Trawick here this morning? Okay, do you have a resume on Mr. Trawick? Okay, we just want to make sure that he deals with diversity and economic development. You got a question, Commissioner?
I'm sorry, I'm sorry about that. I just read my notes. Unfortunately. Item number 2.
Okay. All right. Okay, sure. So, yeah, make sure before Thursday. And I'd love for us to meet that person. That'd be good. All right. It's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. No items for Compliance Office, Personnel Board. We don't have any items. We do have for other business 2 grants. But then we have an item of items of new business as well. We have a community grant with Salvation Army. That's $25,000. Okay. Has been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. All right. Let me ask, Mr. President, at this time, are we able to bring up the items of new business, or would you like for it to be at one time?
That item up in new business. Your item.
Okay, I attend. All right, so I gave that to you, Commissioner. We have several items that have gone through the system, so you'll be able to see that in the backup. And the first is City of Fairfield. They have an immediate need for lighting. It's a lighting infrastructure grant, $55,000, and that is because they've had some fatalities along Aronoff Drive. Wanted to make sure that you knew the purpose of it, so Mayor Penny has asked for that support. Do we have any questions concerning that, or would you like me to go through all 3 items?
Let's go all through.
All right. Number 2, we have Senate Bill 179, which of course we know is sponsored by Senator Coleman Madison. Everyone has done a superb job, from the commission to the county manager's office, to make sure that we had what we thought was in the best interest of the county, a great contract And then Senate Bill 179 is a bill where the commission is acting in solidarity or support, dealing with the actual cost for data that is provided to the county, and so that will help to support us in the mission of making sure that we have affordable rates going into the sewer bond that we are in the process of getting ready to refinance. So there is no association for public record. There is no association with House Bill 177, but Senate Bill 179 has all to do with actual cost. I did email this advance of the meeting. The resolution that you all will be looking at today and hopefully in support of is that Senator Coleman Madison has asked that we show that we are in solidarity as relates to Senate Bill 179. And so our county attorney, as well as those who assist us with Walsh and Bingham, have come together for this resolution. Would you like to add anything to that, County Attorney? Matter of fact, if you don't mind, explain what this resolution does so that we all are on one accord, all the commissioners understand its purpose.
Does Senate Bill 179 have a House equivalent? Or is this just in the Senate? I mean, is there a House bill parallel? Yeah.
I don't know. I think that they're working on that, but in the meantime, that's a Michael Davis question. I think that hold on just a moment. I think that this bill has already, just for understanding, has been assigned to a committee. And again, it only speaks to the support of our own bill, which has to deal with actual cost in terms of what we just finished with the Birmingham Water Works Board.
Yeah, let me read it. Yeah, that's probably.
I think it's.
You want me to read?
That's probably.
All right.
I'll read the bill.
All right. Whereas the Jefferson County Commission is ever mindful of the needs of its sewer customers, and whereas it is important that any governmental entity administering sanitary sewer services receive all necessary data and services, and whereas it is important that governmental entities and its partners provide these services in a manner that is efficient and cost-effective, and whereas the Commission believes that the governmental entities should pay actual and reasonable costs for the aforementioned necessary services and data in the absence of an agreement with partner providers, and whereas the Jefferson County Commission and the Birmingham Water Works Board have exemplified and memorialized such terms by agreement which are consistent with the intent of such cooperation and collaborative purpose, and whereas Senate Bill 179 has been introduced to codify much of the intent established in said agreement, and now therefore be it resolved by the Jefferson County Commission that this resolution of support of Senate Bill 179 be spread on the minutes of the Jefferson County Commission, indicative of its desire to promote efficient, cost-effective provision of sewer services to citizens served by water and sewer providers in the state of Alabama.
All right, so we have an agreement we just voted on with the Water Works Board to deal with the billing. And I understand that members of the county commission or from the representatives of the county will be also participate in the selection or evaluation selection of some work to do meters in the building. This is not, and I understand this is kind of the backup to replace the backup that we have in place now, which is a 1961 statute. So, all right. But we do have that agreement in place, and this reflects that, right?
Correct. This would just basically deal under circumstances in the event that there was not an agreement. That is the purpose behind it. And so in the event that there is not an agreement, this bill would require those entities, among other things, to charge the actual cost per day that is needed to efficiently run the operation, and not anything more than what we actually would owe with regard to those services, and it would ensure that shutoffs are done, and that we would provide someone to do that should those become necessary. But this is something that would kick in the event that an agreement was not in place for an entity.
So we do have an agreement in place.
Yes.
So,
It's been voted on by the Waterworks Board and now us, so that.
what's the purpose of this bill?
In the event,
So we have already, that agreement is done, so what is this?
our agreement is for 5 years. This would be in place in the event that an entity, a governmental entity that provides sanitary sewer services, and a waterworks entity could not or did not have an agreement. In the event that there was not an agreement.
So we do have one.
We do have one.
So we don't need this.
No, we still
This
need,
is-
This is in the event that there was ever a situation where we did not have an agreement. Jefferson County is in a position where we have an agreement, but this would codify in the event there was an entity that did not have an agreement.
So within 5 years of this will,
If we could not reach an agreement, this would ensure that actual costs would be paid and not any arbitrary number that somebody could come up with for cost of data. There's certain data that water providers would have that we would need to operate efficiently our system, and this ensures, for example, that we would pay the actual cost of receiving that data from them versus somebody saying that data costs $9 trillion. If that makes sense.
so Commissioners, just for understanding purposes, Law Department as well as the County Manager's Office, my understanding has it been over 2 years that you all have been working on this agreement?
No.
Year and a half, not long? Okay. But they've done a lot of work in it. I'll say because this falls under our committee, it was quite educational even for myself as a commissioner, because a lot of what we had in terms of cost, the issue was related to what this bill outlines, which was to ensure that we were being charged only for what we owed and not being allowed to pay a fee above that in addition to administrative costs. So that's why it's very important that with Senator Coleman, everyone wanted to be assured that the commission is speaking with one voice. So that's the reason why I wanted to make sure that this morning that you all know the intent behind it. More importantly, she's asking of us, for the sake of her having to share it with her colleagues, that the county commission is on one accord in terms of why we're supporting it. And prime example is this. We had an expired contract in which that was getting ready to come up. We had passed one, if you all recall, a couple of months ago. And so that gave us a time, I think, until June, would you say, County Attorney, that it was for 1 year. It's important that as we go to the bond market, that we never want to be in a position where the county doesn't have an assurance or something to fall back on as relates to the law that will give us the additional protection that we're looking for. Again, this contract is only 5 years. And so, you know, there'll be many more years to come that we know that we're going to have to deal with our sewer bond debt and anything else. This will help to protect the county's interest in making sure that our sewer rates remain affordable. Do we have any other questions?
No, I just want to say, the county and the Waterworks Board has really rolled up their sleeves and got this agreement done. So
I agree.
hats off to you. Yeah, this is, I'm with Commissioner Tyson. Is this a priority to get this passed at this point? So,
Well, the bill has been, and everyone knows, the bill itself has been, not only, I'm glad you said about the work that has been done, because it is the work of the county manager's office, the attorney's office, as relates to this particular bill that we have. When I speak of we, I'm talking about the county in which Michael Davis and Boston Bingham and Frank Long and everybody has been working on this bill. Senator Coleman, of course, this is what all of us been knowing, has been talking about this specific bill. And again, absent of a contract, let me make this commission aware. There is a clause in which if the waterworks desires to sever its ties at any given point, they have the ability to do so. What do you have in its place to make sure that we have an assurance on our behalf if that be the case? You know, at the end of the day, this is about making sure that we look out for the ratepayers of the county. And we've worked very hard. Your work has been exceptional as well, Commissioner Knight. But that is very important moving forward that you do have that. Let me also make this mention as well. With this House bill, this commission needs to be aware if there is a restructuring, should that bill pass, which we have no association with. Should that bill pass, then that board can change its decision as it relates to the agreement in which we have entered into. I'm just saying that if it's not, then you let me know, County Attorney, but I'm saying that if they decide at any given point, and I'm speaking of the Birmingham Waterworks Board, that they want to get out of this agreement, then the point is, what do we have that's going to ensure the interests of the county? So this bill is no new conversation. It's been advertised. The county requested it. You make sure of that. This is not an ask of mine. The county requested it. It has been advertised. The senator, first of all, agreed to assume the bill. It has been advertised. The support of the commission has been spoken by the president, myself, and I think that there's some others of you who have had your own discussions with legislators and so forth. And so this is where we are in writing. This does not in any way infringe upon anything else other than to ensure that the county has a mechanism in place. Now, I'm trying to be diplomatic in the way I say it because you all know we've been paying between $15 to $16 million for something that should have only costed us a certain amount of money. And so that's the reason why these negotiations were had from the beginning. And it was all because of the fact that, you know, the cost of doing business was beginning to be extremely high. So this ensures that we are only paying for what we only owe. And again, this is not a new bill.
Well, it is a new bill this session.
Well, what I'm saying is that it's not your first knowledge of it.
Well, this bill was created before there was an agreement. So,
all I can say is, Commissioner, you can coach your conscience. All I'm saying is this: if we as a commission want to go back to uncertainty, we can. All this is saying is that we support our own bill. I don't know how difficult we're trying to make it, but this is nothing new. When I said nothing new in terms of new knowledge as it relates to this bill being developed and why. All this does is signifies to the commission, the legislature, that the commission itself is on one accord. And the last that I knew, we were all on one accord in terms of why this needed to be done. So, except something that's going on that I'm totally unaware of, the bill was asked, the bill's been advertised, it's been assigned to a committee, and you can chime in as well, Mr. President, on this as relates to our discussion with Senator Coleman, which is that we were in support of this bill. So I'm just making sure that the resolution is something that can be passed so that that can be an instrument or a tool that she can use to give to her, not her constituents, but her colleagues. Yeah. So go ahead, Mr. President.
Yeah, I've read the resolution,
course, this was crafted without the agreement in place. But now that the agreement's in place, I think that Theo did a wonderful job of making this cohesive with the language of the billing agreement that we have, and that with the operative words, be it resolved in Jefferson County Commission that the resolution of support of Senate Bill 179 to be spread on the minutes of the Commission is indicative of its desire to promote efficient, cost-effective provisions of sewer services to citizens served by water and sewer providers in the state of Alabama. I believe that is no more than showing our commitment to work with the Water Works Board through either contract or through this to make sure our citizens are well served. I did not see anything that would be punitive or derogatory in this particular resolution. So, if you go up to the whereas County Commission is mindful of the needs of the sewer customers. Sure. Whereas it is important that government entity administering sanitary sewer services receive all necessary data and services. Well, that's true too. And that's something that we're getting. Okay? So, when you go to check mark, you read through this and you hit the check mark, they've all been checked. And this is just a reaffirmation of what we've done through the Jefferson County Commission and the Birmingham Water Works Board, and it has been exemplified and memorialized such terms by agreement which are consistent with the intent of such cooperation and collaborative purposes. That's the key right there. The Jefferson County Commission and the Birmingham Water Works Board have exemplified and memorialized such items by agreement which are consistent with the intent of such cooperation and collaborative purpose. So, and whereas House Bill 179 was introduced to codify much of the intent established. So, all you're doing is really affirming what we did. And Theo did a good job of working through the purpose of it, and it's up to the position of this board. I think that since the agreement's in place, this resolution does nothing more than say, yes, we're all together, and we support the work of our management staff with the agreement, with the billing agreement, and that in this bill that what we had is pretty much exemplified. So up to the commission.
Is this the bill that Roger Slocum came up with now?
Yep. Yeah, what Roger
That he was questioning us?
Yeah, everybody ain't supporting this bill down there. All the legislators are not on board with this particular bill.
Well, all things being said, I will say this, from those that I've spoken with, and even the conversations that have been had between myself, the commission president, and the sponsor of this bill, there is a lot of support. What wasn't a lot of support for was House Bill 177. And
this has nothing to do with House Bill 177, right?
correct. And I was about to say that. Right. And that was where the confusion came in with that particular senator. However, that senator, from my understanding, the senator in question has not read this particular bill. And the thing is that just as the president mentioned, all we're doing is codifying the work that has already been done that was passed this morning. And that's what this does. So, wanted to be very clear on that this bill does have support, and that's what the senator mentioned. But she also wanted to be certain too that we were all in agreement with our own bill. It's our bill. So, for the record, especially being that we have media present, that this is in no way associated with House Bill 177, which deals with the restructuring of the Waterworks Board, period. No, this is just ensuring that we're going to have actual cost only. And of course, you know, Commissioner Knight, with the work that you've done as finance chair, a lot of what we were paying, the reason why there was a cost savings in this current agreement is because we were paying more than our share of services to be provided to ratepayers, and that needed to be changed. And so, you know, we're just doing what it takes in order to make sure that everyone knows that we're working side by side with Birmingham Waterworks to keep everyone, all the services affordable, both water and sewer. But it doesn't have the objection, not from what I understand, amongst those in the Jefferson County delegation, particularly as relates to this bill. Do we have any other questions or statements concerning this bill? Not bill, but this resolution. All right, what I'm going to do is, if you all don't mind, come back to that, give you a little bit more time to think about it. We have a community infrastructure agreement that deals with the city of Fairfield. I mentioned that was about $55,000. If you would look, it has already gone through the system. Okay. Can I get a second on that item?
Yeah, we need to do unanimous consent first. So you're
Yeah.
going to do
Well-
you have the one on the PGA as well,
Mm-hmm.
and then we could do unanimous consent.
Okay, all right. So then we have also have a presentation this morning that's dealing with PGA opportunity that we have been provided on behalf of the county. That's Scooter Clark, who sits right behind me. And if you can go to that podium, please, sir. As a video, he's going to tell you exactly his role with PGA. And he will also make you aware about the HBCU opportunity that we have. So if you all at this time will go ahead and give him your attention, I appreciate it.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioner Steele. My name is Scooter Clark. I'm the Championship Director for the PGA World Collegiate Championship. PGA employee for the past 5 years. I'm also a PGA member since 2019. It's an honor to be here in Jefferson County. We'll be hosting the championship May 6th through May 10th at Shoal Creek in Denbrook. But to start things off, I'd like to show a video that really encapsulates the championship and what it's about. All right, well, so again, we are so happy to be here. Before I go into the opportunities for this year, it's really important for me to go back and give some perspective about the history of the championship. This championship is in its 36th year of being hosted. It started in 1987 as a means to have postseason play championship experiences for our HBC golf programs. A group of men got together. It was the National Negro Golf Association coupled with Coach Eddie Payton from Jackson State University. And really, again, we're the forefathers of this event. First event was held in Cleveland, Ohio, 1987. It was held there until 1998. PGA America, we lent our resources to bolster the championship. We brought it to Port St. Lucie, Florida, at PGA Golf Club. And then in 2006, we took over ownership and management of the championship. In 2019, we decided to move the championship under our foundation, which did a couple things. One is it gave us the opportunity to fundraise against the championship, create expanded opportunities, and then also take the championship to markets of significance. 2020 was our COVID year. In 2021, we started with this new initiative where we moved the championship to TPC Sawgrass in Port St. Lucie, Florida. We hosted it there with the PGA Tour. In 2022, we took it to the Union League in Philadelphia. The Union League membership really lent their resources to jumpstarting our fundraising efforts. Again, with the initiative and the thought of endowing our HBC programs. The majority of our HBC golf programs, historically and current day, are severely underfunded with budgets that are half of what our founding white institutions' golf budgets are. So there's really a strong need for us to figure out how to sustain our programs. And PGA America has partnered with our industry organizations to bring that to life. And so in 22, at the Union League, the Union League membership spearheaded fundraising efforts to help jumpstart that program. And that brings us to 2023 and Shoal Creek and Denver. So about a year and a half ago, the Shoal Creek membership came to PGA America and said, hey, we really would like to bring the championship to Birmingham. Not only to have an outstanding experience for student athletes, but also to actually lean in with this fundraising effort. Shoal Creek is committed to raising $2 million as a lead gift into the endowment. Half of those dollars will stay in the state of Alabama and go to the Alabama golf programs, and the other half will go to the broader endowment. So we're happy to be here. We've got an enormous amount of support. This year's championship will be televised live on the Golf Channel, which is the first time in championship's history. We've got enormous support from area organizations, national organizations, to name a few. Alabama Power has leaned in. They will be the presenting sponsor of our Beyond Green, which is our career exploration event, which really gives student athletes the opportunity to see what a career within the golf industry looks like. We'll have our welcome reception at Topgolf Birmingham. Topgolf has graciously donated their facility for us for the entire evening. They'll shut it down. We'll have exclusive use of that facility. And we'll have a welcome reception dinner. We will announce the endowment as an industry-wide effort at that event. And in addition to that, we will top the night with a concert experience. We're bringing back for the first time in a number of years 2 initiatives. One is our Youth Day programming. We're partnering with 2 area organizations to bring 80 youth to Shoal Creek on Saturday of the championship. We'll have junior programming for the entire day. The goal there, with partnership with Medical Properties Trust, is to provide sustainable youth programming in the area for underserved youth. So we'll have sustainable programming post-championship so that our area youth will have opportunities to be exposed to the game of golf. But we're happy to be here. I think Mr. Scales will want to open it for questions, have open dialogue.
Do we have any questions right now? We also very excited about Miles College as one of the competing schools that we have that's involved in this program, and So we know that at least 2 out of the 3 event sites that have been identified in this presentation, they're in Jefferson County. So it absolutely has a Jefferson County impact. Do we have any questions? Any commissioners?
I'll make a motion for unanimous consent.
Okay. Second? Second. So have been approved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All
I'll
right.
make a motion to approve the 3 items.
All right. Second? Well, let me let you second. Second. Has it been
What's
moved?
the
and-
3 items?
Okay. Is,
Fairfield,
Right.
PGA Foundation, and the resolution on the 170.
Okay.
Or do you want to separate those?
No, I just have a question on this. On that youth day, when they're going to bring the kids, the youth out to Shoal Creek, how are those 80 picked?
We worked through 4 Alabama kids and Jack and Jill, along with Coach Sue, to identify those youth. Here's the thing, there's obviously been a pretty large gap in youth programming for quite some time. So we are open to anyone families with the Alabama Commission as well to identify youth. It's not just for the championship, but on an ongoing basis to develop our those kids in the as well. So we'll definitely look for our goals on that.
I'm a little disturbed by your videos. Because my golf swing looks nothing like those.
if you don't mind, also, can you elaborate on opportunities for county logo and county promotional branding being a part of what you all are doing?
So we are a little late for branding on course. There will be opportunities for branding or recognition here in the county. Also at Top Golf Birmingham, there's visual opportunities for branding. But outside of that, again, on course signage is the 2-3 distribution.
So if you don't mind, if you can hold on just a moment, it's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be,
I would like to add $20,000
to this contract?
Yeah, for the promotion of the event here at Brook and Shoal Creek.
Anyone else? All right, so the contract amount now will be $70,000. We have a mover and a second for items 1, 2, and 3. All right, second, all those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Okay, you can finish with what you were saying. I stopped you mid-sentence. Okay, so I wanted to make sure, especially being that we now have one of the commissioners back, if you can share what promotional properties that we'll be able to partake in, because we know that PGA and you all coming into the area is not just a normal thing. So
If we're open, again, in the local market, we're completely wide open. So whether it's print media, whether it's radio, social media, digital, there will be some social and digital presence on our PGA social media channels. But outside of that, just we talked about TV, again, locally, we can get creative with.
any other questions, comments? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. And that will end my report for District 1. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your consideration.
Good morning.
Development Facilities Committee. We have something from the coroner's office.
Yes. Commissioners, this is an item, there's no money attached to this. I'm just going to bring to the formal commission meeting on Thursday, I'll bring our toxicologist, Dr. Kim Scott. She's been working with us for a few months, but I wanted to present her to you and ask if you would accept her as our as our toxicologist. Nobody knows.
Is she a replacement for someone?
She is. Dr. Andy Robinson retired. He had been the toxicologist since the contract began back in, I think it was 1980. And he retired in the latter part of last year, and she came. There was this brief time of overlap, and now she's doing our work and doing it well.
Move the item.
Okay, it's been first and second, all in favor, say aye. And I'll talk to him about it. I had a constituent call about one of her family members that died, and they found out late. They had been looking for him and stuff, and they found out late that he had buried him in the place, and I think I'm looking for him. They believe in cremation, not burial. Someone was telling me, but how can I talk to you after that? When I was concerned about.
Yeah, how long do we, because you have to preserve the body.
We do.
And for X amount of time, but you can't do it infinitely.
Right. Well, we don't have an embalming, a licensed embalmer. That would be a funeral sort of service. So the way that we preserve the body is to keep the body refrigerated.
Right.
And we search for the next of kin. And often we're successful, but sometimes we're not. We will hold bodies typically, I think it's 4 to 5, 6 weeks, something like that. And then if we have not heard anything, we go ahead and bury. It's part of the county's policy for imminent burial.
Right.
The graves are marked, so it's possible to exhume someone. And once a family would be identified, and if they wish to do so, it can be done.
Yeah, but 6 weeks is still a long time, even refrigerated.
It is.
Do we have a lot of people like that we can't find that logo?
More than
I know it's hundreds.
The county burials, I think we have about 100 or 150 or something like that.
Okay, let's go to the line now.
God department.
You got to go back over.
I got enough siblings. All we
That might be the reason to put her away.
all we in the military will make sure I'm together.
There you go.
Dr. Hamilton.
Good morning, Commissioners. We have two items this morning. The first one is with S&W Roofing Services to support our housing rehab roofing program. The amount of the agreement is $200,000. Number two is our citizen participation plan. We have to make some modifications to it, mainly change of the name. We're not just community services and our citizens participation plan needs to reflect that. Basically, we talk about how long we get to talk about different programs and policies pertaining to our program, which is required by permanent regulations. And number three is a revised amendment for our PY 2016 through 2022. This is basically reconciling all of our projects. Sometimes we have projects come in under budget, and so basically what we're doing is moving those funds to projects that we see projects.
Move. Second.
Y'all move 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Okay. It's been first and second, all in favor, say aye. Okay, we are go down to family court. Mr. Fields is going
Shaniqua Hunter is here from Family Court. On the agenda, we have a contract with Dr. Marty Byer to come in through some grant funding to come and do a strength needs specialized training with our probation officers.
And first and second, all in favor, say aye. And I have my community grant. And I also have some, comprehensive grant and
I'll move your community grant.
Second?
it's been first and second, all in favor, 1 through 6, all in favor, say aye. And I have new business, about, y'all have the files, for West End Academy, 25,000, for Arrington Middle School, 25,000, resolution from the sheriff, legislative agenda for the constable to, evict, people, it will speed up the process. Can I get a unanimous support the rules for the agenda?
Doesn't see anything on the sheriff's side.
Give us one here. Everyone had, he sent it to
Explain the constable legislation. Because that's the only item we got put forward.
Sure.
That's it.
Yeah, the constable legislation would allow constables to assist our deputies with set outs. Folks are, when there's a foreclosure, when someone is being evicted from a department, it allows constables to assist. And what this, they actually already have the power to do that, but they're limited to making $35 for each time they do it. That number is from 1957. So this would essentially modernize that number and allow them to make more money off of each time they assist the office.
Where's the revenue source?
The revenue comes from the folks from the owners of the apartments. That's who pays them. But right now, they can only pay them $35 each time they get an eviction. They're limited by law to paying them $35. So the constables essentially say, I can't do it for that. I can barely buy the gas to go out to do the eviction for that $35. So this would modernize that number so they can make more.
Well, how much more?
So there's been discussions of having it be $150 or $200, or to say it's whatever the apartment owner agrees to pay them. Essentially, which would mean you wouldn't have to come back in 10 years and set a new number. You just say it's based on market rates and whatever the apartment owner agrees to pay. Now, one thing that I will say about that, the apartment owners have said they are not going to fold this back in as costs on the people who are being evicted. And that's part of, I was concerned about that. I was like, well, does this fold back in? Are the courts going to impose this as costs on the evicted individuals? And that's not the case. These are not costs that can then be imposed back on the individuals who are being evicted. The costs have to be borne by the apartment owners as they're doing the eviction.
It's just,
Do we have anything in writing to that effect?
So what about we have the fact that the judges won't do it. The judges have said this is not cost that can be borne by the judges. All the judges that we've discussed, had these discussions with, said, look, this is not cost that can be imposed on the folks who are getting evicted. These are costs. What the people doing the eviction pay it. They cannot impose those costs. It's not allowed legally for the judges to impose those costs. Does that make sense?
I understand that part, but do you have anything, what will actually be voting on other than what you just said?
I don't think so.
I mean, I understand getting the constables involved, but it sounds like it's basically labor.
So essentially, this is to help with the backlog that was created once post-COVID. Y'all know there were no evictions allowed for a significant length of time. And once evictions have been allowed, there's a significant backlog. So our folks just can't get to all of them. So this actually came from the Jefferson County Realtors Association, or Apartment Owners Association. They asked for this to help help get the backlog resolved. And so we said, well, okay, that's all well and good, but you can't impose these costs on the folks who are being evicted. The judges have agreed with that. They can't impose costs. So there are certain constables who are willing to do it,
and said they will, but they can't do it for the $35. So this resolution essentially encourages, now the legislature has to change, and it'll be a local bill. As you guys probably know, there's only 21 counties left that even have constables. Jefferson County is somewhat unusual in that way. So it's going to be a local bill that would allow this number to go up from the number that was set in 1957.
So there's a statute now.
There is a statute.
And what are we being asked to vote on?
You're basically being asked to vote on that the county commission is in favor of this bill going forward in order, so the legislature will know that y'all are supportive of the local bill.
Do we not have a draft of the bill?
There is a draft of the bill.
We just don't have a resolution that we're,
We don't have the revenue.
yeah, there's no resolution.
I was absent.
And when I say $35, technically there are three additional dollars that can be imposed if children are involved. So I guess the maximum they could give is $38. But even so, $38 is not something the constables are interested in doing these for. They obviously need to make more money than that off each one.
The bill says training is required. Is there a cost to that training?
There is no cost to the training. Training will be put on by our deputies. The constables will be trained by the deputies. And that's something we were very adamant about, that we really wanted these folks, because we don't want a constable who's not been trained by our folks on how to do a set out to go out there. Of course, if you know how this works, the deputy or the constable in this situation essentially is a supervisor of a work crew. The work crews are hired by the apartment owners. They actually go out and do the work, but it has to be supervised, and someone has to take the writ from the court saying that there is a writ of eviction. And so right now it's our deputies that do that. And constables are allowed to do it, again, under the old bill. They just won't do it because we can't be paid enough. This allows them to be paid enough so that we can get them to do it to help clear the backlog.
How much of a backlog do we have?
200-ish apartments.
200.
I'll agree to pass it to the agenda. I'll read this.
Well, I'd like to see a resolution. We just don't have a resolution. That county attorney's office puts a stamp on it. That's your approval.
Yeah, I've seen what it has. It's just a resolution and support. It's not any cost to the county, so it's no.
I just like to.
We'll get you one.
Okay.
If this one's better.
Just know what we're.
And there's no cost to the county. It's all borne by the apartment
Born by the apartment owners. That's
or
right.
the homes that they rent,
That's right.
but it's mostly apartment.
This one's specifically for apartments. For
I'll move for unanimous consent for 3 new items.
For what?
3 new items. The West End Academy, Arrington Elementary, and the resolution in support of constables.
Second.
And first and second, all in favor, say aye. Roll call.
No, you don't need a roll call vote, just call for the vote.
Not a committee.
First, second.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, that's it.
What military grade?
I'm here.
Oh, I'm looking at.
Now we need to pass
Give a
it to the
motion.
agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve those 3 items.
Second. All in, now do we do a roll call or not?
No.
All in favor, say aye. Okay.
All right, we're losing people in here. We got more.
You don't woke people up to do it.
All right, the Administrator and Infrastructure Committee, I got Roads and Transportation. There are several items here. Looks like 8 of them.
I move 1 through 8.
Second.
Say aye. Thank you. Got County Attorney, got 11 items.
And one item of new business that you all received a memo on, it's an ADM settlement that you received a memo from me on it. By virtue of somebody clicking the wrong button, we didn't get it to the agenda, but it should have been. But you have received a memo on it already in your packet from me. But it's an ADM settlement.
I'll move items 1 through 11.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
I move for unanimous consent for one new item in the county attorney's office.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? We have unanimous consent. Mr. Lawson.
I move the item.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. County manager, you got numerous items, 10 of them, looks like.
I move for ARPA's,
Second.
and you know where to go at.
Yeah, I wanted to congratulate y'all. Y'all kicked the process off going to Washington and had the event. And I actually have some money, I start turning around, and it's a really big project for the growth of the county in the future. So good job, commission. Congratulations. That is right around.
They talk about.
In your life.
Hey, maybe they'll take that route when they bury it.
Yeah, maybe let's take it up there to the cemetery.
Yeah, when they can't find their relatives, or nobody claims.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I have no other items.
All right. Finance, that's it.
Good morning, Commissioners.
I move item 126.
Have a motion. Second.
I said that.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Individual staff development is,
I move.
motion in a second. All in favor. Aye. All right, general services, we got an amendment to Paul's facility services, custodial services. Have a motion.
Second.
Favor, please say aye. Is that one and two?
Yes.
And I have one community grant for, let me just, this is for the Jefferson County Schools Public Education Foundation with this second mile teacher banquet. And it's basically a banquet honoring teachers. I went ahead and committed to 5, but the ask really was for each commissioner to participate. And so if y'all want to split up that 5 with me.
I'll add 5 to that.
Don't add, just split. The 5 was the ask.
5 was asked.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll all, I can't speak for everybody, but I'll
We all
go.
should do 1,000 each, that's
Yeah.
5,000 on.
Yeah, that would be good.
All right.
Okay,
I will,
thank you. All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That ends my report.
All right, I got one.
Move it.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
All right, county attorney.
Nothing.
No. Very unusual. Very good. County manager.
Commissioners, just want to let you know, if you get a chance, go out to, you might have to get it now, but the Grass Mill Road project has been a very difficult project, but it's coming along. It's going to be amazing. The rock walls, concrete walls they built around the roundabout will be a tremendous asset to the public. Move a whole lot more traffic, so great to see that get done.
Well, I got an invitation to go out and meet with some homeowners on Cross Daily because they're not happy that they're having a detour. And I told them I would come out and meet with them and, you know,
We can go let us do it.
I'll be happy to bring you guys along. And I'll say, I know you are a Christian, but you're gonna talk to them. Sorry.
This is a PG-13 meeting.
Hot back.
Oh, man.
it might be, I had wanted to, there's something about item 2, the environmental service, I had, just had told Cal about this.
What?
Professional service contract, and it's got, that they can hire, $6 million of that $22 million for contractors. Just wanted to make sure that they get some minority contractors and women. Contractors.
Well, I think they do that.
I want to make sure, because I want to make sure they do.
Well,
Just some.
The contract is gone now, you can't negotiate out the contract.
No, I'm talking about, I ain't already did that before then. I'm just bringing it up publicly.
So, Commissioner, I'd be glad to say
It's already addressed.
that actually is something we look at. So, our largest, under the contract is in DDD. So, we're actually out there looking for, DDD contractors. So about 30% of that, of folks we have under this are in the DDD. So, we're very, very aware of that.
I know, I just wanted to say it publicly, because I know better than to negotiate out or something and get voted on. But I just wanted to bring it up publicly.
Nevertheless, if we discussing it, and it's a contract that's already before us, then that's the end of that. And I still meant what I said, you can't do nothing after the contract has been voted on. So,
Thanks,
unless
Dave.
you amend it.
Talk to me
But
about it.
I think that was already baked in the contract, so.
Yeah.
I understand.
We talked about it yesterday. About the job.
Any other business come from this Allen body? This meeting, what?
Thursday, Bessemer, we're in the regular.
Thursday, you're in Bessemer.
And
Jefferson.
your regular courtroom downstairs.
Downstairs in the basement.
Regular courtroom downstairs in the basement, Thursday. Glad you reminded me, I will be absent. Mr. Knight will take over the reins for Thursday. And,
So you better be on your best behavior, y'all.
yeah.
We'll bring the gavel. Where the gavel at?
You bringing lunch.
We ain't gonna be there that long.
I'm not going to do that.
And Saturday, we're gonna clean up Carson Road. Don't have a,
And the American Legion is having a Stop the Violence walk run at Railroad Park starting at 8 o'clock
when?
on Saturday.
We're gonna take a walk out there.
I'm a lifetime
Clean up
member.
Carson Road.
A lot of our soldiers are older
Oh.
and they can't do that. So,
A lot of our commissioners are too.
Yeah.
no, we just
But
will
the
see.
Zach and Macy are gonna be, they're gonna be whippersnappers there Saturday.
And, Aspen Institute will be coming in May, commissioners, with their plans. They had, finally got a contract signed with the city. And I gave them $50,000, so.
You guys see it?
No. Aspen Institute. So they'll be here and they will be, they're gonna come and talk to us about the plan that they're gonna do, along with the incredible messenger plan that they have.
Well,
The
Mr.
digital
Chair.
plan that you was talking
I'm not
about.
going
They got that too.
I'm not going
We get you taken care of, sir?
I hear that there's something for me to consider.
Okay. All right, good deal.
I'll squawk if I need to.
Well, like everybody else.
Now, we're
Fit
gonna
right in.
we gonna take care of you, but y'all gonna take care of us. Sooner or later.
She done heard too much about that on Mark Graves'
They
stuff.
sure have. They done wore me out last week. They did.
We done here?
Yes, we all.
See y'all?
They